Okay, so I'll show you a little bit of the difference between these recipes. These at the top, the yellow, blue, and green, are intended to be segmented cook drops. Those are for your bone-in chicken. The blue one is for a 6 to 10 drop, the yellow one's for a 1 to 5 drop, and the green one's for 11 to 15 drop. And those recipes are a little bit different based on how much chicken you're dropping. And the point of those recipes is to let the temperature drop from 340 down under 320 and stay there for a few minutes before it starts working its way back up. And so that's what happens in a segmented chicken cook. That's different from your typical basket products. When you're doing pies or French fries or whatever, the temperature is set at 340, and when you drop food, the temperature is going to drop, but we're going to try and get it back up to 340 as fast as we can. And so because they work a little bit different, you can't mix a segmented cook with a basket cook. And in this particular controller, we're going to show you how the controller is smart enough to help you deal with that. So we're going to look at the controller here. Again, these are our segmented cooks. These are our non-segmented cooks, or our basket products. If I start a basket product, you'll notice that these products that were segmented cooks grayed out, because I can't start a chicken cook after I've started a basket cook, because the fryer would be trying to drive to two different temperatures. The same thing's true if I start a chicken cook. It's going to gray out everything, because once I start doing a segmented cook and I drop a, drop a chicken in here or something, I've got chicken floating everywhere. I can't drop a basket of fries in here with that, so it grays out the other icons, so I can't do something that I'm not supposed to do anyways. If I ever needed to change one of these icons, let's say we were doing a limited time offer like fried Oreos, and I didn't have that on my screen, I could push and hold one of these buttons. I'll push the fries here, and it would bring up my library of products, and I could scroll through until I get to my fried Oreo button, and I could add that, and now I have a fried Oreo button that I can cook on this fryer. Okay, so here we've got one of our chicken fryers. Real similar to the last one, but this one is set up in a single lane concept. It doesn't have baskets in it in most cases. It's not the normal way that it cooks. So in this one, everything is a single lane. So if I do a chicken cook, it's going to take up the whole screen. There's nothing else that I can cook because I'm doing the chicken. And it's got my countdown timer. It looks real similar. The cancel button works the same way. But the difference is that these fryers only cook one product at a time. If I do need to cook something in a basket over here, I can still drop something in the basket. But again, it's going to take up the whole real estate. This is just going to fry that basket, because I can't drop chicken in here once I've dropped a basket of food. Okay, some other things that you find interesting about this controller. These buttons at the bottom are some of the more advanced functions. If you need to get to the home screen, then you can go here. And from here, you've got crew mode. If you need to change settings or get into service or menus or recipes, that's where you would do this. Crew mode takes you back to the screen that you're in most of the time. This is your crew mode screen. Home gets you into other functions. From here, if you ever needed to change the language, now this button here, it's on every screen, this globe, that'll change the language from English to Spanish, or from Spanish back into English. It could also be set to do from English to French and French to English. That button with one push changes the words to Spanish. One push again changes it back to English. That's not necessarily incredibly helpful in a screen like this, but if you get into some more advanced operations where there's some more words on the screen and you don't know what these words mean, then you can always change it to a language that you're more comfortable in, or change it back to the other language. So easy to toggle back and forth between languages. If you ever want to see statistics on the fryer, you can hit the question mark, and you can come in here and look at things like filter statistics or oil statistics. We'll look at the filter statistics, and you can look at different days. We can look at today's report and see what's in there. And it'll tell us that we've done cooks. We got 6 more cooks remaining until it's going to ask us to filter again. And so far we haven't done any filters today. And then we can see that we haven't skipped any filters today, so that's good. That means we're doing what we're supposed to do. Next function that we need to know about on this controller is the filter functions. The hand with the sponge, that's kind of the cleaning functions, gives us the filter options. When we get here, the top function is quick filter. This is usually the one that it'll ask you to do after you do a certain number of cooks. It'll tell you it's time to do a quick filter. We want you to do the quick filter when it asks you to do it. If you're doing the quick filter when you ask it to it, you probably would never have to manually start this, but if you needed to manually do a quick filter, anytime you can push the filter hand and then the quick filter button, and it'll go through the quick filter process. The second function on here is the clean and filter with OQS. The cleaning filter is the one that you do later at night. Again, it'll prompt you to do that at nighttime, but if you need to manually start it, you can push the filter hand and then come do that. We also have the dispose function. If you've been using the oil long enough and it's time to throw the oil out, the dispose function will drop the oil into the filter pan and then prompt you to hook up the hose to the orange port down here, and then hook it up to your dispose system, and then pull the blue handle, and it'll pump the oil from the filter pan out through your disposal system. Advanced filter functions, if you select that option, it gives you the ability to rotate shortening. If I need to move oil from this fry pod into this fry pod, it'll drain the oil here, and then it'll tell you to pump it in here with the wand, and so it'll help you rotate the oil just like you're supposed to operationally. If you needed to do a filter where you just wanted an OQS reading, you could do an OQS filter, but again, you do that every time you do a cleaning filter, so it'll take the OQS readings for you. Fill that from pan. If I ever have oil trapped in the filter pan below, then to get to that function, you can see it's grayed out right now. It's grayed out because the fryer's in an on state. You can't do fill from vat in an on state, but if you turn the fryer off and you want to fill vat from pan, then you could start that function and it would turn the pump on and pump oil out of the filter pan and into the fry pot that you start that function from. There's also one on the next screen that is drain to pan. Will work the same way. If I wanted to drain the oil out of this fry pot and into the filter pan, I could again start that function. It would open the valves and drop all the oil out of the fry pot without actually doing a full filter function. So a lot of advanced filter options in there. Your clean function, that's where you would do your boil out if it was time to boil the fry pot out to get it nice and clean. So all of these things can be found in the filter function, which again, from the crew mode screen, it's this cleaning hand that gets you into those functions. The temperature icon just gives you a display of what the temperature is right now in the fry pot. It'll tell you what it actually is and what the set point is. Sometimes you're just curious where I'm at on temperature, that'll let you know. And then down here in this bottom corner, you have the OQS number. On the fryers that are equipped with OQS, they will have a number down here, red, yellow, green. If it's a green number, your oil is good. If it's a yellow number, you need to dispose soon. If it's a red number, you need to dispose now. That number typically would be a solid color if you've done an OQS reading recently. If you have not done an OQS number reading recently, then that number will start to blink. And that blinking indication is something so that you know that that number, even though it may be green right now, may not be trustworthy, because if I haven't done an OQS reading in 3 or 4 days, then I don't know if that number is good or bad. And so what you really want to do is do a new OQS anytime it's blinking, so that you can find out what the current condition of the oil is before you make a decision about whether you want to keep the oil or if you need to discard it. So the other nice thing to know about this OQS button down here is if you want to see a history of what your OQS readings have been, if you were to push that button, it brings up a shortcut that'll show you about a 3-week history of your OQS readings. In this one, because it's a new fryer, we haven't been doing OQS readings, it's not in here, but normally this will be populated with a bunch of different readings from each day. And so you could see how bad your oil was to start with, and then how it's progressed over the number of days that you've been cooking in it. Push the back arrow, it always takes you right back to where you were before. And that's pretty much the operation of the touchscreen. 2 other things I guess I'll tell you. This is the power button. If you need to power the fryer off, you push that button. This is the power off state of the screen. It looks exactly like this. If I need to turn the fryer on, when I come up, I don't just push it. That won't turn on the fryer. That's intentional. We don't want people to accidentally start a cook on the fryer. If I come in and I push and hold it for 3 seconds and it beeps, when I let go, it'll turn on the fryer. So it's one to make sure that it's an intentional action to turn on the fryer, and just make sure when you turn it on, you push and hold the button. Here it's asking me, is the fry pot full of oil? In this case it is, so I'm gonna say yes, and then it'll turn on the heat and I'll go to normal operation.